Hello, I'm Paolo Sabbatini. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Horticulture here at Michigan State, and I'm working primarily with grapes. And we have several projects that we're working on. And this year we are working on a very interesting project that started last year, funded by the Project Green, in which we are trying to find a way to manage grapevine canopy in a way that we can improve fruit quality. And we have a lot of challenges in growing grapes in Michigan, and especially the cool summer and the very wet end of the season, September, October, when the grapes are starting to be ready to be harvested, we get too much rain. So one of the most important challenges that we have is fruit rot. Fruit rot or cluster rot is something that limits so much the fruit quality at harvest. So with this project, we are trying to implement an alternative canopy management technique that will help the growers to produce better fruit quality. The technique is trying to apply a simple concept that is leaf removal, so remove the leaves around the clusters to expose the cluster to the sun and improve the fruit quality, but the implementation of this technique is done very early in the season, at bloom. And the reason why we do that is because at bloom, if we remove the leaves around the cluster at the time of the season, we achieve something very important. That is the reduction of what we call cluster compactness. A cluster tends to be very compact, like this. You see all the berries, they're touching each other, and this compactness tends to be correlated pretty tightly with bunch rot.
Gewürztraminer is an awful compact cluster. And this research on early leaf removal is involved with reducing the number of flowers that set and thus the compactness of the flower. Gewürztraminer is one of those ripening varieties that you kind of pick before it falls apart from rot. And if you have a loose cluster, you can get all the aromatics you want and pick a little bit later. Not only pick at a higher maturity, but pick at a higher ripening without rot.
The more is compact the cluster, the more bunch rot you have. So with this technique, in removing the leaves very early in the season, around bloom, we achieve the goal of reduction of fruit set. So instead to have, I don't know, probably around 200 berries in this cluster, we go down to 150. And you see that the reduction of fruit set gives you a cluster that's very loose, the berries are not touching each other, so there is a lot of air circulation around the cluster, so when it rains and the cluster tends to be wet, tends to dry very quickly in comparison to this other one. So when this dries very quickly, there is no chance for the fungi to grow, so we reduce a lot cluster compactness and cluster rot. The second idea of this project was also to implement mechanization. We are trying to have an industry that moving forward to be more sustainable and planting more acreage, so mechanization is part of the equation. We need to have a machine that do a great job and very timely, and they can manage a lot of acres. So we are implementing a new technology with this new machine that's owned by a lot of different people in the northwest part of the state and the southwest part of the states. They are collaborating with us in this project. And this machine not only removes the leaves, so reduce the fruit set of the berries, but at the same time clean the cluster from any residues of the bloom event or the flowers that are falling off after bloom, right before the fruit set. In this way, those are the part of the flower that tends to be the origin of the bunch rot, because the fungi of the bunch rot tends to be saprophytes, so the leaves on the residues of the flower. So in this way, we clean the cluster very well from these residues. You will see from the pictures and the movies that will come after this.
Standing in front of a Gewürztraminer vine at Bryson State, and he's just doing leaf removal. And one of the first things we noticed was that it removed all the residue of the bloom that isn't set. You can see two different pictures if he wants to show it to you. These flowers have no residues left in them, and you'll have a reduction in botrytis, better than you can get with sprays. Now you have no dead plant material, flower material at the bloom, which is the most important inoculum time for botrytis during ripening season. So you're getting an effect from a mechanical way way without using chemicals.